What it do is DOA, another one. We back, man, like DJ Khaled out this motherfucker, man. Shit. Y'all got another one on these UFOs, man. These UFOs and these extraterrestrials hitting the news hard right now. I ain't gonna fake. I don't know if y'all catching it, but for one, they got it's some type of unidentified planet or spacecraft headed towards this way. It's the 3I. That's what it is. That shit slipped my mind for a second. But y'all can look up 3I because I ain't covering that in this one, but I just wanted to touch on it, man. It's something headed our direction, and it looked like it's being steered, to be honest. It don't look like it's just some debris that's flying through space. Plus, it's shedding nickel, like large amounts of nickel off of its surface as it passes through, which is kind of an anomaly. Usually meteorites and stuff like that, they don't just shed nickel like that without shedding iron as well. And this ain't shedding it's shedding little, if any, iron. So it's a little bit different, you know what I'm saying, type of spacecraft. But y'all know I just dropped I dropped 2 videos about the Space Force being relocated to Huntsville, man. It didn't do numbers like that, man. Y'all didn't go out and watch that one. I don't know what's up with y'all. Y'all know when I drop something like that, if it's something that they don't want you to know of and there's some truth to it, you know they gonna try to sweep this shit under the rug, man. So I need the league. I need the league to go watch that, like that, drop a comment. Shout out to my homies that always be dropping them, though. That y'all know y'all who always be commenting, dropping comments, and liking the videos and shit. That really helped me out. But, you know, sometimes they think they can hold a good nigga down, but the real ones know you can't hold a good one down. So even if they ain't watch it, it's still out there, bruh. Before long, I guarantee it's gonna do numbers, man. They might have to pull that one out the archives when the page take off. But you know what I'm saying? When y'all see one like that, man, go ahead and click on that joint, man. You know I'm gonna tell you something you probably ain't heard before. I've been doing that for a long time. And it's funny, they just had a the congressional hearing, and they had some whistleblowers come out talking about UFOs today. So we're going to touch on that. But before we touch on that, I'm going to take y'all back to one of the first places of merit that I heard about UFOs disclosure and extraterrestrials making contact with humans was Paul Hellyer. He used to be the Minister of Defense in Canada, but he spoke out in one of Canada's congressional hearing type joints a while ago. This been years ago. And he came out and admitted that they had made contact with extraterrestrials. So we gonna watch a little bit of that video, and then we gonna get into the U.S. Congressional hearing talking about the extraterrestrials. So without further ado, let's go ahead and listen to my man Paul Hellyer. Might have to skip through this a little bit. I ain't gonna play the whole thing though.
Decades ago, visitors from other planets warned us about where we were headed and offered to help. But instead, we, or at least some of us, interpreted their visits as a threat and decided to shoot first and ask questions after. The inevitable result was that some of our planes were lost, but how many were due to retaliation and how many were as a result of our own stupidity is a moot point. Wilbert Smith, one of the first Canadians to take an active interest in the subject of UFOs, asked the visitors about the accidental destruction of our aircraft by flying into the vicinity of a flying saucer. The response, and this is Wilbur's words, "We were informed that although a few of our aircraft had come to an unfortunate end by what they considered the colossal stupidity of our pilots, they were now taking corrective measures to avoid our aircraft." I asked them, and this is still Smith, I asked them what happened, and they said, well, the fields around the saucers, in order to hold them up, in order to produce the gravity differential, the time field differentials, which were necessary to operate the ship, these sometimes produced field combinations which reduced the strength of materials to the point where they were no longer strong enough to carry the loads that the materials were expected to carry. Now, as we know, aircraft, particularly the military type, are built with a rather small factor of safety. And in these regions of reduced binding, the materials are no longer strong enough to carry the load, and the craft simply comes apart. When I read that, I was reminded of the late, great soprano Lily Pons, who used to smash crystal goblets with her high C. She would direct the sound at them, and something in the sound waves would change the structure of the glass, and it would fly apart. Well, this didn't satisfy our military chiefs, who must have thought that it was more important to secure American nuclear superiority, even though using it would result in the annihilation of us all, than to take the hint and start moving the planet back from the brink of global disaster. They, the military, must have been and still are so paranoid that they feel it necessary to use the visitors' technology to fight them off, rather than welcome them as partners in development, though they may have seconded a few renegades to assist them in what can best be viewed as diabolical developments. Stephen has said that talking about UFOs is passé, and that we should be talking or limiting our talk to exopolitics. Well, Stephen, I agree with you in theory, but in reality we have a problem when official U.S. policy insists that UFOs don't exist. The veil of secrecy must be lifted, and it has to be lifted now, before it's too late. It is ironic that the U.S. would begin a devastating war, allegedly in search of weapons of mass destruction, when the most worrisome developments in this field are occurring in your own backyard. It is ironic that the U.S. should be fighting monstrously expensive wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, allegedly to bring democracy to those two countries, when it itself can no longer legitimately claim to be called a democracy, when trillions, and I mean thousands of billions of dollars, have been spent on projects about which both the Congress and the Commander-in-Chief have been kept deliberately in the dark. How much has been accomplished in 60 years of feverish activity by some of the most educated?
Man, so basically he just said they tried to take down some UFOs, and the force field around these UFOs basically just pretty much disintegrated these military aircraft, so that it weakened them to the point where they fell apart. But he actually goes into detail about the races of extraterrestrials that they've been in contact with. But you heard him just then speak about us getting some technology from these extraterrestrials and pretty much trying to use it against them instead of working with them. And he says some renegades from these extraterrestrial races have been working in conjunction with what appears to be the U.S. military to give them some technological advancements. And I don't know if y'all saw, we'll let that load up for a second, but President Trump was just speaking about some military weapons that we had. He was just talking about it. Let's see. I just posted talking about the Space Force. I was mentioning that they got these anti-gravity crafts and some technology underneath Redstone Arsenal that people wouldn't believe that they had. And Trump came back and said that. Here we go.
Some economists are saying that right now is technically embargo on China with 125% tariffs. Are you concerned of escalation beyond the trade war with China?
No, I'm not concerned. I think President Xi is a very smart guy, and I think we'll end up making a very good deal for both. But, you know, we've been treated so badly for so many years. Again, we allowed that to happen. We've been treated so badly for so many years. But no, I don't expect that. I think President Xi is one of the very smart people of the world, and I don't think he'd allow that to happen. And we're very powerful. This country is very powerful. Let me tell you, it's far more powerful than people understand. We have weaponry that nobody has any idea what it is, and it is the most powerful weapons in the world that we have. More powerful than anybody, not even close. So nobody's going to do that, but I think that if that's what you're referring to, maybe it's not. But just in terms of basic escalation, which is what you said, no, I think that President Xi is a man who knows exactly what has to be done. He's a very smart man. He loves his country. I know that for a fact. I know him very well. And I think he's going to want to get to a deal. I think that's going to happen. We'll get a phone call at some point, and it'll be off to the races. It'll be a great thing for them. It'll be a great thing for us. It's going to be.
Keep in mind, he made this comment after watching China just have that military parade where they debuted some pretty nice military technology of their own. But he's letting you know right now with full confidence that the U.S. got something that nobody even knows what it is. That's what he's saying. So that would even lend to the credibility of what I said in my other video, is that they got some space age type technology that's top secret. And I do believe President Xi from China knows that as well. They might have some of their own, but I don't know that they have exactly what we got. And that's probably what keeps us in the position that we are in the global atmosphere, to be honest. But let's see if we got this Paul Hellyer loaded.
Which concluded that at least 4 species had been visiting Earth for thousands of years. And this is my own view at this stage as well. So, except for that, there are just a couple of things that we've talked about that I'd like to refer to. And one was that we were referring to them as they until this morning when Linda Moulton Howe, I think she was the first one, actually named 3 different species. I don't think we can any more refer to them as they, because they're not an amorphous mass. They are different species and consequently may have different agendas. I don't think we can say that they all have the same agenda any more than we could say that the United States, China, and Russia had the same agenda. Our real interests may be very similar, but as of now, our perceived interests are still quite far apart. One more observation before I begin what I want to say, and that is that we spent quite a bit of time talking about the 66-year-old cadavers, and I was glad to have Linda this morning finally say that there are live ETs on Earth at this present time, and at least 2 of them probably working with the United States government. The other species that I learned about not too long ago was called the tall whites.
We're going to go on to this U.S. congressional hearing and look at what happened today, earlier today at the congressional hearing.
I was off duty, sitting in my backyard with 2 other police officers when we noticed what first appeared to be a satellite in orbit, but it wasn't acting like a satellite. The light was strange, it was pulsing, and then it started to maneuver. It dropped in elevation. At times it would vanish from view and reappear in a different location in the sky, and eventually it reappeared 200 feet over my house. It was a 30-foot diameter sphere of light. My friends and I watched it for a moment, and then it gently accelerated and traveled up and disappeared into the stars. These events profoundly changed my life and the lives of my friends. We stand at a pivotal moment in history. The question is no longer whether these events are real, but whether we have the courage to face them.
He himself has seen one. And it's more to these videos than I'm going to show. I'm trying to keep this one a little bit quicker. But you can look up the congressional hearing yourself. And you can watch that entire hearing if you're more interested in that. But I basically just wanted to confirm to y'all that this is not a conspiracy, you know? And a lot of people I know don't really want to hear about it because it kind of evokes fear, which is probably one of the many reasons why they haven't had full disclosure on the topic, because with people believing in a lot of this religious dogma and what we've been taught in church and school, it would kind of shatter everybody's reality, to be honest, just to know that there are other things in the universe out here and things that are greatly more powerful than us and our government, and the things that we once thought was in control are actually not what's in control. And in order for the government to keep control and these religious establishments to keep their control, they have to appear as omnipotent, all powerful. So I believe that the introduction of these extraterrestrials would really undermine the rules that they're putting on, that they're all powerful, and that would kind of create a different freedom here on Earth. Also, you know, people that thought through a lot of the movies and media, the thought of extraterrestrials is a scary thing to a lot of people. So a lot of people will rather look the other way on it. To be honest, they don't even want to think about an extraterrestrial being here on Earth, you know. It's a scary thought, but the League of Shadows motto is prepared, not scared. And I'm not saying that I can be so prepared like I can necessarily defend myself against the extraterrestrial or anything like that, but knowledge is preparedness in a lot of ways, and knowing that there is a higher power beyond us and these extraterrestrials, and that just because it's unknown doesn't mean that it's a threat. So I think our government is kind of might be trying to go to war with them because our government is a threatening entity. So that's how they handle their situations. I think it's a threat to the government's power, so they look at it as a threat to their survival as an institution. So they might approach it different than how I would approach it. You know, I'm gonna be welcoming, I'm gonna be inquisitive, and I'm gonna embrace that as a reality rather than trying to go against it, go to war with it, or, you know, anything of that nature. But I am gonna be prepared if our government tries to take it to that level and, you know, war is waged, and I'm prepared in that fashion. You know what I'm saying? But I'm definitely eagerly awaiting the appearance of these other life forms, to be honest. You know, why wouldn't you want to know what's out there? Why wouldn't you want to engage with other entities like that? You know, there's no fear in my heart of them. I really think that they here for our benefit because they've popped up in times where humans were threatening each other with nuclear war. They've been known to pop up to defuse these nukes that we have. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of times they pop up by military bases and military storage facilities where we holding these nukes and stuff. And they kind of like deactivate these nukes to keep us from using them. From what I've heard, they say that it disturbs the entire universe when a nuclear warhead is set off, even on this planet. So there seem to be keepers of the peace, intergalactic keepers of the peace. And I mean, why wouldn't you welcome that? As always, I hope this video was enlightening. Hope you got something from it. Like, share, subscribe. Drop a comment for sure, even if you didn't like it. Plenty of people drop comments where they saying they don't appreciate the content sometimes in different ways and fashions, but I engage with anybody, you know. That's what a real man does. I'm out here to speak the truth, and I'm out here to seek the truth. So if somebody's speaking it, I'll give it a chance and I'll dialogue with you. But man, peace and love and light, wisdom and insight. DOA, putting it together to the next episode, man. Peace.